DJ and PK, it is time now to talk college basketball and March Madness with the head coach of the UVU Wolverines, Todd Phillips. Todd, welcome back to the show.
How we doing?
We're doing well. This is more a welfare check on you. How you doing?
I'm surviving. It's a fun time of year. You know, it's stressful. Every game matters this time of year for everybody. So excited to be a part of college basketball. That's for sure.
The Wolverines are 22-7. They are 12-4. They are in first place in the WAC. It's a 7-team league this year. You got a one-game lead over Cal Baptist and a game and a half over Utah Tech. The conference tournament should be exciting. It's obviously a one big league. You got to win the tournament to get in. But you guys have been banned from the tournament and then banned from TV, but then a judge let you back in, except I guess there's another hearing and maybe another judge. Can you bring people up to date on where everything stands with UVU and the WAC and your postseason fortunes?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're just focused on controlling what we can control and, big games this week at Southern Utah and Utah Tech for, a chance to win the league outright. And so that's kind of what we're focused on as a team. Obviously, there's just the discussions of us leaving the league. And so that's kind of where the fight is, over what it's always over money, right? It's always over dollars or something. And so, the courts are going through that. They're handling that. I feel confident with our administration and what we've done here at Utah Valley that they'll see us through it. And so we can't control that a ton. So we just kind of move forward with us. But, there's already been one hearing and approved for teams to play. There's another one on Friday, and the judge is going to make a decision here this week on what's going on there. But we feel super confident, and we'll be playing in the WAC tournament here in a couple weeks.
In the world of college basketball, so many of these teams every year, they're brand new because kids are coming and going, and we've talked to you about this, and you've just harken back to your junior college days where that was more of the norm. So what you're coaching in is a continuation of the norm for you. For others, it's been somewhat of an awakening and trying to figure out what's going on. And when you bring in all these new guys, how does it go in terms of creating leadership from among the players? Because we always hear that, of course, the coaching staff provides leadership, but the best teams have player-led leaders. And when kids are brand new to each other, how does that evolve?
Yeah, no, it's a difficult, we talk about culture all the time. Hey, we got to build our culture. And, when you don't have a ton of guys, we lost four of our starters, all transferred. Two of them playing the Big 12, one of them's in the ACC. But we also lost four other guys on that team that are all at different places right now playing. And, it's not just guys going for money, it's guys going for more playing time. And so, you got to reload. We kind of use a mantra here. I don't know if it's always consistent, but it's built, not bought. And, you got to have young guys in your system that can develop. Our two top guys right now are both 3-year and 4-year guys, come in and maybe redshirted, come in and didn't play much as a freshman. Then as a sophomore got minutes, as they mature, they can help guide your program so that when you do bring some transfers in, they can buy into the system and what you guys are doing. And that's been huge for us this year with those two guys that have been in the program. Actually had 5 guys return. And so all those guys, kind of helping develop that culture, and guys can fall in line with the guys that transfer in.
I heard Jared Calhoun in his post-game after Utah State won against Grand Canyon. It had a 17-point lead. They fell behind. They won the game in the final 2 minutes. And he thought one of the big moments in the game was when Mason Falslev called the guys together in some dead ball situation and just kind of laid down the law about what they were going to do down the stretch to win the game. And he really got at the value of having someone in the program who'd grown up rooting for the program and had played in it for 3 years, was a junior, and been through these moments. I'm sure you'd like that. How possible is that to get this in this era, and how valuable is it in the seasons when you're fortunate enough to have it?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I mean, we've been very fortunate in the 3 years I've been here. We've had those guys every year, and it's usually it's the next generation of guys. It's not, we're not taking our best player and bringing him back. Our WAC player of the year, he's not coming back, but it's the guys who were the 7th man, maybe the 8th man on the team the year before, who have seen all this stuff and been a part of it. Jackson Holcomb was one of those guys. He was he played the position to 4-man with 3 guys last year. 3 guys all went to that spot, and he probably got the fewest minutes. And now he's our go-to guy. And so he's been through those fires. He's been to those gyms and knows what it takes, And so that's so invaluable. so as a coach trying to keep those guys and to, be able to evaluate a team and say, hey, this kid who hasn't played very much the last 2 years, we think he's going to be good enough to play for you the next year. And that's not always an easy task. It's like, oh, we got to go get better. But, if you develop guys in your program, it pays huge dividends. Our other kid is Trevin Lenhart. He's been here for 4 years, and, he's one of the best point guards in our league, maybe one of the best point guards in the country. And so we've been lucky to have him start for 2 years for us.
Well, Holcomb looks like he could be league MVP with the type of game that he's been able to produce. He's a box score stat stuffer, doing a little bit of everything for you. And you have been open about players moving on. I mean, are you? I don't know what's the word. Are you expecting him to leave? I guess.
I guess the answer would be I lose sleep every night, and trying to figure out how possibly to keep these guys. Because that's what his strength is he is in every category: rebounding, steals, scoring. And you look at my other top guys too. That's what they all do. Tony Lenhart's one of the top assist guys, one of the top steal guys in the country, a great rebounder. And so you tell yourself they're not going to. You plan for it, you work for it, you figure out a way to recruit them back. And so we'll do all that stuff with the guys. And at the end of the day, numbers come out, and kids got to make decisions. And for us, it's tough. I got kids in my office all the time. Are the WAC Player of the Year, didn't want to leave, came back in twice trying to say, hey, how can we make this work? And, and we get excited and we try to do some more numbers and do some stuff. And then at the end of the day, Iowa State came in and the numbers twofold what we can get him. It's like, hey, you got to make a business decision. You got to go do this and take that money and go. And so it's, this time of year, I think for us, it's just focus on winning. Winning cures a lot of problems. And so to make these guys have the best year possible.
15-0 at home this season. Perfect record. And I've often wondered, with as many students as go to that school, can you go, and there's been improvement, but can you get where it's just routinely packed and it's a tough ticket? And one thing somebody told me was, well, yeah, a lot of students go to school there, but there's actually a surprising number that are high school kids doing concurrent enrollment, getting credits to get ahead on college and all that. How's that working with getting the student body to buy in, and then kids who grew up watching, Utah and BYU and the Jazz on TV? How's that going? I mean, it's paying off to some degree. You're 15-0 at home.
Yeah, no, and I'll add to that. We're undefeated the last 2 years at home, so it's 2 years in a row. But yeah, we got a good home crowd. Is it sold out? No. Is the student section completely packed to the rafters? It's not. I think winning helps. I think our administration's done a great job of trying to encourage kids to come, because you do have a little bit of that. You have a little bit of commuter, kids in the valley commuting into school. So it's like they're not right here. But as you've also seen in this area, the growth of apartment complexes, student housing, and so that's blown up because we don't have dorms on campus. There's no on-campus technically housing. There's stuff that's right here by the school. And so I think it gets better every year. I think they do a great job of making it entertaining and exciting. I think today's, coming to a game, it's not just come watch a game, it's have an experience. And so, our people here work really hard about that. And I'll be honest, I look at the crowd before it gets going, and then, the game goes and I have no idea what's going on. I hear them and feel them, but at the end of the game, it's like we've had 3 or 4 times this year. It's like, man, that crowd was really good tonight. We had, it kept getting bigger. So they're doing a great job with that. Yeah. We'd like to get it where it's, it's packed out with our student section.
I'm not sure how many people know, but Taylor Hendricks' twin brother is on your team, Tyler. I'm wondering, how did the trade affect him, if it affected him at all?
Yeah, they're really close. So I think it was hard for him, right? Because he's been right there. Mom was right here as well. Mom still lives here, so she comes to a bunch of games, and they talk like every day. So I think it affected him, but they both were apart for a while when he left UCF and went to the Jazz, and Tyler stayed there. So it's been good. I think having his family around has been a really good move for him this year, and I was really excited about that. So it's fine. I haven't really asked him, hey, how are you feeling? He's still been playing really well and on a high level of basketball, so it hasn't affected his shot, that's for sure.
Todd Phillips joining us. He's a basketball coach at UVU. They're in first place in the WAC by 1 game with 2 games to go. I'm curious how much time you have to spend fundraising, how much you have to open up your program to boosters. We've talked to coaches about this. We've heard a range of responses. I'm wondering what your experience is.
Yeah, no, and I think it's an exciting time for us. Definitely trying to open ourselves up more to boosters to be involved. I think the big thing here at Utah Valley is a little bit of money goes a long, long ways. We kind of joked that like one player at some of these big schools, if you paid for one player, you could take care of our whole program. And so, it's us trying to find ways to connect with the community, connect with boosters to make them feel a part of what we're doing, and it's a pretty exciting basketball. Last couple of years we've been really good. And so it's fun to be a part of that and know that you're helping contribute. So we've got some great people involved and are continuing to get more people involved with it.
How do you think it's going to work for your program going forward as you move into the Big West, which obviously is basically the Big California, and you guys? Does it change at all?
I think the level is pretty similar. I think the style is a little different. Our league that we're in right now is one of the top defensive, grimy steal. We lead the country in steals. We lead the country in fouls. Our league I'm talking about. And so we're going from that league to a league who scores the ball pretty well. It's a much more kind of open offensive system. But I think we translate really well. We play really big bigs. So we play two big bigs all the time. And those teams that play like that in the Big West have been really good. We played Irvine, UC Irvine, and Santa Barbara, two of the top teams in that league this year, and beat both of those guys. And so I think we'll transfer in there really well. It'll be fun. It's closer flights for us flying to California compared to flying out to Texas.
Yeah.
And so I think we'll move in there, and it'll be a nice fit for us.
Does recruiting change a lot because you are going from basically a Texas league to a California league? Does that change things a lot, or in this transfer portal era, is that not the way people think anymore?
Yeah, I would say that's not how we think, and we're going to recruit the same way we've been recruiting, the same type of guys, in the same areas. And I do think with the transfer portal, saying, oh, we're going to recruit the West or we're going to recruit the East, that stuff kind of doesn't fit anymore. You're trying to recruit the best players and guys who fit you. And sometimes that's a kid that's coming from Clemson. Sometimes that's a kid coming from BYU. And so you're out looking at those guys and trying to find fits for your program and what you guys believe will be successful.
You often hear when kids leave, the coach will say, wish them well, and, we hope for the best and all that stuff. I'm wondering in your situation, just take last year, which had a really, really good team with a lot of high-level players, and you talk about them moving on, and a couple of these kids were local to an extent. The Welling kid obviously was local, and Toulson was basically local. As far as that goes, do they come to you for advice because they're probably going to have multiple options, which one of them would be staying, obviously, but also other schools recruiting them? How much do you get involved in that?
I probably don't say that I get heavily involved in their advice because it's kind of a sticky situation. My advice is to stay.
Right.
But I will say that we get a lot of, this summer in our gym, we probably had 5 of our guys that had transferred out the last 3 or 4 years, whether they're playing pro now or whatever, back in our gym. I think our environment here creates a family feel. They leave here, and am I heartbroken? Am I bitter a little bit? No doubt. But my relationship with them doesn't change. I understand the business, and it is what it is. And very rarely is there like a fault, like why'd that kid leave? We understand why they left. We understand what they got to do, and it's probably it's a good decision for them. But I think I feel comfortable, and they come back into this gym and work out in the summer with us and get in here, and it's been probably kind of a cool thing. We have the kid that's up at the G League right now from Chicago, and he comes back here all summer and works out. And Fardaws Amac, you remember that name? One of the top rebounders in the country.
Yeah,
he's overseas. He'll come back here in the summer and work out and stay around. And so it's almost like even though they're only here for 1 or 2 years, it's home for them because of the environment here. And talking to those guys, it's been good. I wish it would be better and they'd stay for a couple of years, but I understand where it's at.
As I was wondering, BYU could sure use Welling and Toulson now. Do you know if they recruited him hard enough?
Good question. The recruiting thing nowadays is, I don't know if hard enough is, I think you put not price tags, but hey, we need this position and we're willing to spend this. And then if somebody else values that way more. And so I don't know exactly how much they're recruited by those guys. but they're definitely really good players. I mean, Carter's having a tremendous year.
Yeah.
Tanner's been fantastic. So it is what it is there. And, you can always go back and say, well, we should have taken this guy or this guy. You just don't know how your team's going to sort out. And I know obviously BYU, they've had a bunch of injuries. So it goes there. But I do think those are high-quality kids.
Well, it goes back to what you said about recruiting the transfer portal area, trying to find the best player. And, I mean, there was a time I never would have thought I'd see kids who'd played basketball in Utah playing in Virginia and Clemson and TCU. I mean, it would just seem unthinkable. But here we are.
Yeah, no doubt. I think there's two, right? There's two Utah kids on that Clemson team.
Yeah. Well, Coach, good luck in the final week of the season, and good luck trying to get that 1 seed, and good luck with the courts on Friday, and hopefully we'll see you in the WAC tournament in a week.
Awesome. Appreciate your time.
All right. There's the head coach of the UVU Wolverines, Todd Phillips, men's basketball coach. 15-0 at home. They got a couple of road games and then off to the conference tournament.
You wished him good luck 3 times there.
There you go.
The trio of good lucks.
Yeah, there it is. When we come back, top of the hour, we're going to be joined by Mike Folta, Utah Mammoth radio voice. He needs a trio of good lucks. Need some good luck for the Mammoth. Need some good luck for his Purdue Boilermakers. And he probably needs one more I don't know about right now. We will talk with Mike at the top of the hour. Stay with us.